All right, good morning, everyone. It's about 11:14. We're going to get started in just a second. We're going to have a little bit of a slideshow to start, just very, very brief, and then we're going to introduce our guest speaker. Very excited for that. Just a bit of housekeeping. If you are at home today, you can use the YouTube link. You can watch on your devices from the YouTube link that your teachers are providing you in their Google Meet chats. You don't necessarily need to screen share and watch it through Google Meet. You can just watch it on a separate device or a separate tab or what have you. It'll be a bit more smooth that way. And on YouTube, you can also you can post any comments or questions that you have. And if we have time at the end, hopefully we can post some of those questions to Sanjay, and we can. I'm sure you'll have some. You'll have a chance to ask those. So just a reminder to keep them appropriate. Keep the chat clean. I am monitoring the chat, so we'll do it that way. I'm going to introduce my co-pilot for today. So all of this is brought to you by Student Council, by the way. So all the speakers that we've had for all the grades, you guys have a particularly special guest speaker, and so my co-pilot is Charlotte Kedzure, and I have to say thank you so much, Charlotte, for all the work that you and the rest of Student Council have done to make this event possible for everyone.
Seriously, I couldn't have done this without the whole team. Everyone has put so much time into this project. I'm super excited that it's all coming together.
Me too. We just had Sec 3s, but we went really, really well. I'm extremely excited for this one. So why don't we just go ahead and introduce the topic here.
So this is interdependence and resilience.
Yeah. So from what I understand, you guys came up with a little video to kick this off, right?
For sure. Just something cute to get you in.
Let me just make sure.
Prospect of anti-bullying. Hope Week.
Here we go. Chrome tab. Oops, I don't think I have the audio on. 1 second. We're live. This is always going to happen every time I do this.
Right there. Don't worry. I mean,
Chrome tab.
I'm sure all teachers can relate.
Yeah. It's always that share audio button. They always make it so small. All right, here we go. So this is the video that you guys put together to introduce Hope Week.
Hey Westmount, my name is Lauren Dillon from Student Council.
Hey Westmount, my name is Sophia from Student Council.
Hello Westmount, my name is Mohammed from Student Council.
Hello Westmount, my name is Rose Minsberg from Student Council.
Hey Westmount, my name is Simon from Student Council.
Hey Westmount, my name is Marley from Student Council.
And together we, the anti-bullying team,
have worked relentlessly to bring to life a project that we think you'll all enjoy.
An adapted version of our anti-bullying day.
Now called Hope Week.
We know that it's not what you'd expect in a typical school year,
but we still thought it was very important to put something cool together all the same.
And who knows, maybe you'll learn something new.
All right, there we have it. There
you go.
Hope Week little video there. And
cute, sweet.
This screen here. All right, so I'm going to let Charlotte introduce our guest speaker, and then we'll bring him on stage here.
Absolutely. So if you didn't know already, hi, I'm Charlotte from Student Council. On behalf of the Anti-Bullying Committee, who we must thank for this amazing project, I'd like to introduce our keynote speaker for the period, Sanjay Nath. So Sanjay, he is or was a founding vice president of an e-learning company based in Toronto that has gone on to become a multi-million-dollar company. Prior to that position, he worked as an engineer for a distribution company in New York and served as a camp director for several years at a camp that focuses on developing leadership skills in students. He has also held positions with H&R Block and the Bank of Montreal. Sanjay started an international speaking business when he was 19, an age when he wasn't even old enough to rent a car. He has traveled the world addressing people of various ages about leadership. In 2005, Sanjay became the third youngest person in the world to earn his certified speaking professional designation, which is the highest international recognized designation a speaker can achieve. In 2018, Sanjay was inducted into the Canadian Speakers Hall of Fame. God. Sanjay has also holds an undergraduate degree in mathematical engineering and a master's in business administration. Sanjay has earned a black belt in Taekwondo, has run a full 26-mile marathon, and has even gone skydiving. He's a magician, a comedian, a professional actor. He can juggle, and he was rated as one of the country's top debaters. Currently, he's learning to sing Row, Row, Row Your Boat in rounds by himself. Let's give a warm welcome to Sanjay Nath.
Thank you very much, Charlotte. And in keeping with the theme, I think I'm supposed to introduce myself by saying, hi, I'm Sanjay, and I'm not part of the So
Amen.
Awesome. Thank you. And thank you to you guys for putting together this week. I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I wish this was in person, but the world is at a little different place. But to make it more intimate, I didn't tell you guys this, but I've snuck into everyone's house. Anyone who's watching or listening to this, I've put in a hidden camera so I can see and hear all the reactions. So it's really important that when I tell a joke that you actually laugh out loud. And just to make sure that it's going to work, I'm going to give you a quick little test here. I'm going to start with a joke my 8-year-old told me. So here we go. Ready? What's orange and sounds like a parrot? And the answer is a carrot. No? Okay, well, you guys need to work on the laughter, but we'll take it from there. So as Charlotte mentioned, my name is Sanjay, and what I've had the opportunity to do for the last 26 years is I get to go around sharing ideas and concepts through stories about life skills and topics. And I know you guys have been talking about bullying and resiliency, and we're going to get into that, but I like to do it in a way that is fun and entertaining using real life examples. And my hope is by the time we're done our time here together, one is you're entertained, but two, you think a little differently and you look at life maybe a little differently. And so that's kind of the goal. With that in mind, let's kind of get into it. Quick question, and remember I can hear and see you. Quick question, how many people here have younger brothers or sisters? Oh, yeah, okay, good. How many have younger brothers or sisters they like to torture? Excellent. Ladies and gentlemen, lesson number 1. Let me give you my background. I have a younger brother, I have an older brother and a younger sister. And right from the day my sister was born, my parents loved her more. No, they totally did. Like, they hugged her more, they bought her more gifts, and they totally ignored my brother and I. So we figured at a very young age, it would be fair to pick on my sister. And I remember one day, I'm pushing her down the street and she's crying because I forgot the stroller. Right? I get her home and my mom starts freaking out at me. She's like, you can't physically pick on your sister. She's smaller than you. You can't physically harm her. And I'm like, fine, Mom. I'll psychologically torture the child. And I learned at a very young age that if my mom wasn't home and I walked up to my sister going, Mommy's never coming home. Mommy's never coming home. She'd start to cry. But she soon outgrew that. And I had to search high and low for ways of picking on my sister. And I came across a single, before that, I realized that if I walked into her room and I picked up her favorite teddy bear and I started punching it in front of her, she'd get really upset. It's funny because I'm looking out at the audience here and I'm looking at, and all the guys are looking at me going, yeah. And all the ladies are giving me the stink eye going, you jerk. And I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways. It's been my experience that in general, women are smarter than men. Oh, yeah, we're virtual. I'm safe. Let me try to explain. If we were in front of a live audience, I would say, well, we're in front of a live, but if we were in person, I would say, gentlemen, what color is my shirt? And the most typical response I would get is blue. And I would go, thank you. And then I would say, ladies, what color is my shirt? And they would say, navy blue, aquamarine, magenta, fuchsia. You see, because guys, we work with an 8-pack of Crayola. Ladies, they got a 124 with a built-in pencil sharpener. All right. With that said, I've come across one instance I've only ever come across one, more may exist. I've come across one instance in which guys are actually smarter than girls. Don't get excited, I only said one. But so if I came up here in front of the entire group, and again, we were in person, and I brought with me a cute little teddy bear, a little stuffy, a little snuggly buggly, and I placed it on the ground, and then I proceeded to stomp on it. My experience is every girl in the room does this, and all the guys go, relax, it's a ball of cotton. Right? So one instance, guys are actually smarter than girls. So anyways, my sister prescribed to the girl version. I used to beat up her teddy bears. She soon outgrew that. And I had to search high and low for ways of picking on my sister. And I came across the single meanest thing I've ever heard one brother doing to another brother. Take note. My good friend Brian is sitting down next to his younger brother, Michael. They're sitting there eating their Cocoa Puffs, watching like reruns of Magic School Bus, when Brian gets bored. And for no reason out of the blue, Brian does this. Ew. Ew, gross. Now, Michael has no idea what he's doing, but he's trying to be cool with his brother and get to the bottom of it. He's all like, what? Is there a smell? Is it a bad smell? Is it me? What? What's the problem? And Brian very calmly says, oh, no. Oh, no, nothing. No, it's not. A few seconds later, Brian starts doing it again. He's like, ew. Ew, do you smell that? Ew, that's gross. Ew, disgusting. Ew, putrid. Ew, vile. Ew, ew, ew. Well, stop sniffing it, you freak. So Brian's doing that. He's like, ew, gross. Ew, ew, ew. Gets to Michael's face and says, ew, Michael, your eyes stink. And Michael says, what? Your eyes. When was the last time you washed your eyes? What? Upstairs now. Go wash your eyes and use a lot of soap. And Michael went. And Brian ate Michael's Cocoa Puffs. And some of you are looking at me going, who are you and why are you here? Right? I thought this was supposed to be about resiliency and interdependence. And now this guy's telling us how he picked on his little sister and his buddy tortured his brother. Although that information is extremely valuable, it isn't really what I expected to get in today's presentation. And the thing is, if you'd asked Brian or myself, why is it we picked on our younger brother and sister? In a split second, we would have told you the reason we picked on our younger brothers and sisters is because both Brian and I had older brothers that picked on us. And like it or not, you tend to be a product of the people you hang out with. What do I mean? How many people here have older brothers or sisters? And I would assume they would never pick on you, would they? My brother, let me give you his background. He's 6'2", 240 pounds, black belt in Taekwondo, right? He can just still do the splits. Like, it's disgusting. And we were younger. He was like twice my size. We would fight, and it was like something out of the movies. His arms were longer than my entire body, and he had the ability to hold my head back, and his arms were long enough that I couldn't reach his body. And I would kind of like swing at him and kick at him and try to get him and get so frustrated. Amazing thing is, it never stopped me from trying. Anyways, my brother would frustrate. My brother would pick on me every day. He even had a phrase for it. It was called my daily beating. And so here's the reason why I'm telling you this is, for years, if you would ask me this simple question, why are you picking on your sister? The answer was really simple. The answer was, well, I picked on my sister because my brother picked on me. And I would have externally blamed him. If he hadn't picked on me, I wouldn't have picked on her. It wasn't me, it was him. I was an innocent bystander, a victim, if you will. For years, if you'd asked me why I picked on my sister, the answer was, well, it wasn't me, it was him. And it took me a little more understanding, a little more maturity, and a little greater intelligence to get to the truth of the matter. And the truth of the matter is much closer to this. Although we are influenced by the people we hang out with, any action we choose to do or not to do is entirely our responsibility. I'm going to say that one more time. Although we're influenced by the people we hang out with, any action we choose to do or not to do is entirely our responsibility. I didn't pick on my sister because of my brother. I picked on my sister because of me. And it was one of the first lessons I learned in this idea, this concept called personal responsibility. What does that mean? It means any situation you are in, you have part of the responsibility. If it's a good situation, if it's a bad situation, if it's an okay situation. We can't always control externally what happens to us, but one thing we can always control is how we choose to respond in that situation. And to me, that is the basis and the core of what resiliency is. What does resilient mean? Resilient means the ability to bounce back. It means good things happen to bad people and bad things happen to good people. But do you let one incident define who you are, or do you bounce back to be who you truly are? And we're going to talk a bit more about that, but I want to get to know you guys a little more. Again, remember, there's a camera. I'm going to ask you guys a few simple questions. If the answer to the question is yes, make a little noise. Yell, cough, cheer, scream, spit. No, don't spit, but make a little noise. Question number one, how many people here have ever been part of a school team? School team? Nice, nice, good, good, good. Question number two, how many people here have ever been part of a school play? School play, let me hear you. Well done, well done, well done. Question number three, how many people here I would say fans of Lord of the Rings? Any fans of Lord of the Rings? Yeah, all right, good, 6 of you, wonderful. Great. Next question, no noise in case you're in a classroom. No noise, quick show of hands, all right? And if there's any educators or teachers around the students, I'd ask you to close your eyes for a quick second. We're doing this anonymously. Wonderful. How many people here have ever pretended they were sick so they didn't have to go to school? Yeah, oh, a lot of teachers with their hands up. Okay, perfect. And last question, lots of noise here on this one. How many people here have, say, stripped naked, painted themselves blue, and stood on the roofs pointing north? Let me hear you. You freaks. What did I just do there? I just asked you guys 5 simple questions. And by asking you those 5 questions, I just categorized everyone on this call. Well, what do I mean? What was the first question? The first question was, how many people here have ever been part of a school team? And we know who they are, right? The jocks, right? They got their Nike hats on backwards, their Adidas tearaways, and they stand around all day doing this. Did you see the big game? And all their friends are all exactly the same. They're like, what? Yeah, forget it. Whether or not it's fair, whether or not it's true, like it or not, there are people that look at that group of people and say things and think things like this. I know that group. They act the same. They dress the same. They listen to the same kind of music. They watch the same TV shows. They're all the same. Or question 2, what was that? Was how many people here have ever been part of a school play? And we know who they are, right? The artsies, right? And they run around every day in their flowery dresses, quoting Shakespeare, to be or not to be, right? Whether or not it's fair, whether or not it's true, like it or not, there are people that look at that group of people and say things and think things like this. I know that group. They act the same. They dress the same. They listen to the same kind of music. They watch the same TV program. They're all the same. Question number 3, Lord of the Ring fans. Right? And if you haven't picked up on the pattern, I'm about to make fun of them. I get 3 words, and the 3 words are science fiction geeks. They're all like, hey, have you ever heard of Middle Earth? Heard of it? I was there last week. You too? Right? Or question number 4, the skippers. 5, the freaks. Ever notice how we tend to do this as people? We tend to group, stereotype, classify, And more often than not, the people that are doing that, I know that group, they're all the same. More often than not, they focus on their own groups and they focus how people are different. You know, they're all the same, but me and my buddies, we're totally different. In fact, if you go on to study it, there's a course of study called social psychology. And social psychologists explain why we do this with something called the in-group, out-group bias. The in-group, out-group bias, it's a bunch of fancy words, and this is basically what it says. It says everyone you know falls into one of two categories: the in-group and the out-group. The in-group is your inner circle. It's the people you know really, really well. The out-group is everyone else. It's people you don't know, people you barely know, and people you don't want to know. All right? As human beings, we have this tendency to look at the in-group and focus on how people are different, unique, and special. At the same time, by default, when we look at the out-group, we tend to focus on how people are similar and the same, even if we're processing the same information. Let me give you an example. I may say something like this. I say, yo, me and my buddies, that's in-group talk. Me and my buddies, we're totally different, right? He likes this, The Weeknd song. I like that, The Weeknd song. We're totally different. That's in-group talk. Out-group talk sounds like this. The out-group looks at my group and says, oh, those guys, all they do is listen to The Weeknd. So they don't focus on the uniqueness, they focus on the similarities, even though they're processing the same information. Where does it come from? I have no idea. Society, internet, television, I don't know. But I do know this. When I'm dealing with little kids, since they have the attention span of a fruit fly, you got to play a lot of games with them. And if you ever want to get a bunch of little kids excited, say these 4 words in front of them, and I promise you, they will lose their minds. The 4 words are, I need a volunteer. And they'll be like, oh, pick me. I was speaking in person with a group of little kids one day, and I said, ladies and gentlemen, I need 8 volunteers. All these hands go up. I pick my volunteers. I bring them onto the stage with me. Now, here's the thing is I love picking little kids as volunteers for a bunch of reasons. You know, they're energetic, they're enthusiastic, they're fun. Yeah, all that stuff. But my favorite reason is they like to talk to themselves a lot, right? So I pick my volunteers. As they're coming onto the stage, I hear them mumbling. They're like, ooh, I'm going on stage. We're going to play a game. And I already know the game. I hope it's a fun game. I'm up for it. Yeah, it's a mystery game, something fun. Okay, here we go. Let's go play the game. So I bring them on stage and I say, we're going to play a game. And this is the way you play the game. Each one of you is going to get a big jumbo card to stick on your forehead so everyone can see it but you. The talking continues. Oh, I have to hold a card on my forehead in front of the entire group. I hope I don't drop it. It sounds like a challenging game. I'm totally in. Let's do it. Yeah, okay. Like I said, if you have a really high card, like an ace or a king or a queen, everyone thinks you're really cool and they all want to be your friend. Ooh, ace, king, good. Ace, king, good. Ace, king, good. Yeah, sure. Yeah. I said, if you have a really low card, like a 2 or a 3, everyone thinks you're a big punk and no one wants to talk to you. Ooh, 2, 3, bad. 2, 3, bad. Icky, stinky, poopy. Don't want a 2 or a 3. Okay, I said, got it? Yeah, got it. Okay, last rule to the game. You have to pretend you're at a party where no one speaks English, including you. So the only way you're allowed to communicate with people is by moaning, groaning, and grunting. Some of them get it, no problem. Others get really confused and make weird sounds and faces like this. Huh? And I'm like, exactly, you can only make weird sounds and faces like that. And they're kind of like, okay, yeah, I get it. And I let them go, and it's the funniest thing in the world to watch. Although they are not allowed to speak, I can practically hear them think. What I mean by that is based on their body language and how their eyes are lighting up, although they were not actually speaking words, I could have a really good sense of what they were thinking. I was doing this one time. This girl, I'm going to guess she's around 8 years old. She's holding a 2. She doesn't know she has a 2. But like I said, although she wasn't allowed to speak, based on her actions, I could interpret what she was thinking. So I'm going to kind of semi-act out what she was doing and tell you what I think she was thinking. So this is her. She's all smiles. She's like, yeah, I'm at a party and I'm going to over there, over there. Over there is an ace. Aces are cool. I want to be cool. I'm going to go hang with the ace. And in excited 8-year-old fashion, she runs over there. Arms and legs are flailing all over the place. Now, as she's running over, the ace sees the 2 coming and she's all like, oh no, here comes the 2. Gotta get away. Must get away. Need to get away. And by that time, the 2 is right in front of her face, and her only reaction is, ugh. Did that ever just sound like a horse? Anyway, so they're running around for a bit, and I'm like, okay, hold up. They're like, what? I say, there's more to the game. They said, what? I said, this is, if you think you have a really low card, like a 2 or a 3, come to the center of the stage. If you think you have a really high card, like an ace or a king, come to the center of the stage. If you think you're somewhere in the middle, come to the middle. But what I want you to try and do is order yourselves from lowest to highest based on the way you were treated by this card on your forehead. And the amazing thing is, they can do it. The amazing thing is, these 8-year-olds can order themselves from lowest to highest based on the way they're treated by this card on their forehead for less than a minute, and no one had to speak English to them. People go, that's crazy. I can't believe little kids do that. Well, you know what? Little kids do it. Big kids do it. You do it. I do it. We all do it. How? We walk through the halls of our school and we go, yo, that guy right there, captain of the chess club, yee, we know what number that is. Or her, captain of the cheerleading squad, we know what number that is. And as silly and as cheesy it may sound, what I'm here to tell you is you're all aces, and I want to teach you how to play aces from out of your sleeve. A lot of times when I speak, I use magic. I have a quick little magical demonstration. I'm trying to do this on camera, and hopefully it's going to work. But I'm going to share with you a quick little trick. I'm going to stand up, and so here's the deal. I met this guy the other day, and I said to him, hey, do you want to make some money? He said, sure. I said, that's great, because I have 3 magical cards here. I said, the first one is a joker. He said, okay. I said, the second one is a joker. He said, all right. And I said, the third one is the ace of diamonds. He said, what's your point? I said, the object of the game is very simple. That is, keep your eye on the ace of diamonds. So I very carefully took the top card and I placed it on the bottom. And I asked him, where's the ace of diamonds? He said, oh, that's easy. It's on the bottom. And I said, wrong. You owe me $1. He said, okay, if it's not on the bottom, you know, maybe it's on the top. And I said, wrong again. That's $2 you now owe me. He said, look, if it's not on the bottom and it's not on the top, it must be in the middle. And I said, that's $3 you now owe me. And he said, I'm not dumb. You're not using an ace of hearts at all. And I said, or an ace of diamonds at all. And I said, that's $4 you now owe me. And I told him if there was one on the bottom, there's no way one could be on the top or in the middle. He said, whoa. You must be using more than 3 cards. And I went, 1, 2, 3. That's $5 you now owe me. He said, I quit. I said, before you quit, we'll make things a little easier for you. I said, here's the joker. Here's the ace. Right now, you owe me $5. What is this card? Double or nothing. He said, oh, that's easy. It's a joker. And I said, actually, it's a 10. And that's exactly how much money you owe me. if you don't know how that trick is done, you're probably sitting there going, cool. I like that's $10 a day. Like that's some serious lunch money. You know, I got friends that would fall for that every day. They're not too bright, right? But if you're standing behind me or to the side of me, you see exactly how I did the trick. And maybe you cross your arms and go, he sucks. Trick cards, sleight of hand, routine, put it all together. I can do it better than him. Because the trick itself isn't the impressive part. It's what you choose to do with it, right? And two people in the exact same situation will see things completely differently. And in fact, that's what life's about. Life's about learning the tricks to create the magic in your life. And that is what this idea and this concept of resiliency is. It is a trick, it is a tool that will make you or allow you to have a better life, right? It reminds me of, I just quickly here again, everyone here goes to school, right? Good. We want to make sure you're awake. If you go to school, you're going to be one of two types of people. And I don't care if you're a teacher or a student, or you work at the custodial staff or the front office or the library or the cafeteria. I don't care. You're one of two people. Who are the two types? First type, rolls out of bed in the morning. They do their yawns and stretches and they're kind of like this. 7:30 is going to be a great day. You know, the pep rally stuff's going to be a lot of fun. The student council is putting on this whole speaker series. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I can make school chemistry class, bring it on. Woo-hoo. And their friends tend to look at them going, oh my, what did you have for breakfast? And never have it again. Does anyone know anyone like that? Is anyone like that? All right. Good for you if you are. But there is another type of person. And perhaps you could relate to this person a little better. They roll out of bed in the morning. They do their yawns and stretches, and they're kind of like this. It's 7:30. I have to go to school. I don't want to go to school. You know the type of person I mean? These are the people that go downstairs to the breakfast table. They see little sister taking cornflakes and crushing them, and they start freaking out. They're like, Mom, do you see what little sister is doing to the cornflakes? And Mom's like, yes, leave her alone. She's 4 years old. No, Mom, she's a serial killer. No? All right, I tried. So you wonder, what's the difference between these two types of people? Because a lot of times they could be brother and sister. They could live in the same house and go to the same school. Or they could be husband and wife. They can live in the same house and teach at the same school. Why are they so different? Why is one so excited by life and the other one just not care? And hopefully I explain this to you by telling you a quick story about a little dog named Fido. Now, you got to picture Fido. Fido's this rather young spastic pooch. It's all like running around every day looking for the best place to do his business. On this one day, however, as Fido is running around, all of a sudden he stops. His ears ding up. His eyes bulge out of his head. Because right in the middle of the backyard, he sees Kermit, the green frog, hopping along like Kermit does. So what does Fido do? Fido goes ballistic. He's all like, chases them into one corner of the backyard, the other corner of the backyard, around the shed, over the fence. All the while this was happening, Fido's owner was watching. Except there was one little problem. Fido's owner never saw the green frog. All he saw was his dog losing his mind. So like every good dog owner, he kind of hiked up his pants, crossed his arms, said, oh man, look at the pooch. She's going to have to put her down. She's gone a little loopy. But here's my question. My question is, How do things look from Fido's perspective? What does Fido see? A green frog. But what is that? It's a goal, it's a dream, it's lunch. But here's the key. Fido doesn't care what the people around him are saying. So how does this tie into resiliency? It's really quite simple. If resiliency is the ability to bounce back, the biggest question is, how do you execute that? How do you learn that skill? Well, that skill simply is the ability to see the green frog. People who are resilient have the ability to see the green frog. Remember, no matter where you are on the totem pole of life, I promise you, things can always get better and things can always get worse. The direction in which they go has to do with your processing and your perception of what's going on. The ability to see the green frog says this. If you don't see the green frog, you go, oh, COVID, that sucks. Life is over. Or, oh man, I failed the test. I'm a big failure. Life sucks. Everything ends. Oh, my boyfriend, girlfriend broke up with me. Forget it. There's nothing. There's no hope. The resilient person says, hey, my boyfriend, girlfriend broke up with me. That sucks. I'm heartbroken. But at the same time, it frees me and it opens me to find someone who's a better fit. I see that green frog. Hey, I failed this test. That is the universe's way of teaching me that I didn't study well enough for it. There's an opportunity for me to get and learning for the next one. Hey, this COVID thing, yeah, it sucks, but there are opportunities for me to help other people or maybe get online and do some digital things that wouldn't have been able to do had this pandemic not struck. All those people are able to see the green frog. When your student council comes up to you going, hey, we're doing this thing this week, virtual presentations, we're going to get people's eyes and minds open, and we're going to do all this fantastic stuff. This is what they're really saying. They're saying, I've seen this green frog. And if you come along with me, we'll have one heck of a ride trying to chase it down. Because although we're influenced by the people we hang out with, any action we choose to do or not to do is entirely our responsibility. And it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. I promise bad things happen to good people and good things happen to bad people. But the question is, what do you do about it? In fact, that quote, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. I read it years ago in the margin of a booklet. And it was written by a guy named W. Mitchell. Now, it's weird how the world works, but I don't even know why I remembered that. But years later, I met that guy, W. Mitchell. And when I hear that, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it, I go, nah, that's fine. It's something that, a teacher or a parent would say, well, yeah, no big deal. But when you know W. Mitchell's story, I think the quote takes on a little more significance. So here's the story. This guy, W. Mitchell, he was an up-and-coming executive. He was doing well, and he decided to spoil himself, and he got some bonuses, and he bought himself a motorcycle. And he decided, he's an American guy, and he decided he was going to do a little tour, and he took his bike and he went out through a bunch of states and all this fun stuff. Unfortunately, at one point, he got in a pretty bad motorcycle accident. And as part of what happened was, as his motorbike rolled, the gas tank ruptured, and he ended up catching fire, and he became severely, severely burned. As the story goes, he lost most of his fingers, and they actually removed some of his toes and put them on his hands so he'd have things to grip with. Horrible accident. And when a guy like that can say, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it, to me, it elevates the clout. But not only did he say it, but he lived it. So he said, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. He goes, okay, so I'm horribly, horribly disfigured. My mind is still working. I can still contribute. I can still create value. I can still help the world and move things forward. And so he did. He went back to work. He kind of rose through the ranks. He ended up becoming financially quite independent. And so he had the finances covered. So he picked another goal. One of his goals was he wanted to get involved with politics. He lived in a small town in Colorado, and he ended up becoming the mayor of the town. Like, that's pretty cool. And he went to his bucket list. And another thing, he wanted to get his pilot's license. So he got his pilot's license. He's flying a plane one day when he gets in a plane crash, and he becomes paralyzed from the waist down. So here's a guy It's gone through 2 horrific accidents, horribly disfigured, now confined to a wheelchair for his life. And if he could say, it's not what happens to you, it's what you do about it. The next time we have a bad hair day, or our friend says our bestie, we have a fight with our bestie, we can put that into context that, yeah, it's unfortunate when you have a bad hair day or you have a fight with your friend, but it's also an opportunity for you to be resilient enough to bounce back, to see what is the green frog, what is the excitement, where can this go from here? And I'll tell you, the people who are resilient don't look outside. They look for the green frog internally because they're excited about it. They don't look to the dog owner going, oh, the dog owner thinks I'm crazy. Oh my goodness, I must be crazy. They go, I don't care about that. I care about what I'm focused on. And they look at what they can do and how they can help, how they contribute, and how they can move forward. I know a guy, his name is Dave. Dave is a musician. He lives in Halifax. And he's not like some super famous musician, but he ended up getting a gig in Nebraska. This was a bunch of years ago, around 2008, 2009. And so anyways, he was flying from Halifax to Chicago and then Chicago to Omaha. As he landed in Chicago, and sorry, let me give you the context. So he's not some super fancy rock star. Most of his value is in his guitar. Like that's where mostly he's saved up for this guitar. It's a nice, fancy, it's worth thousands of dollars. And so anyways, they were sitting on the tarmac in Chicago. And the lady behind him in the plane says, look at that. The luggage crew workers are throwing guitars. And he looked out the window and he saw them throw his guitar. And he kind of like freaked out, but there's really nothing he could do. So he waited till he got to Nebraska. And finally he got his luggage. He opened up his guitar and his guitar had been severely damaged. And he's kind of like freaking out. So he goes to, and it was United Airlines that he was flying. He went to the United counter and he said, hey, look it, when I was in Chicago, people saw them throwing this. And the lady like doesn't even give him the time of day. He was like, well, go talk over there. So he goes over there and then she directs him somewhere and she directs him to him and back and forth, and no one is helping. He has to go and, do his gig. He comes back 6 months into this. He's calling people. He's writing letters. No one's giving him anything. And he's so frustrated because he's just one guy against a huge airline. But remember, we all have gifts. We all have talents. And we can bring, when we look inside and we see the green frog, we can bring out our power in different forms and ways. So eventually, after 6 months, he gets a letter or a phone call that basically says, sorry, we can't help you. Your insurance will take care of it. And he's totally frustrated because he doesn't have the ability to hire a lawyer to fight the big corporation, right? What is he? He's a lowly musician. And then he thought, I'm not a lowly musician. I'm a musician. I'm actually a good musician. I'm just as important as anyone else. And a bit out of frustration, he said to United Airlines, he said, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Because I'm a musician, I write music. I'm going to write 3 songs about my experience, and I'm going to post them on this, at the time, this brand new service. It was something called YouTube. Barely anyone was on YouTube at that time in 2008, 2009. And he said, I'm going to post my experience there. And he created the video, and his first video, and it's called United Breaks Guitars. And you can actually go Google it. He wrote a song, put a video on, and it got to 1 million views in a very short period of time. Now, in this day and age, 13 years later, people get to 1 million views all the time. But back then, getting to 1 million views, there was only a handful of videos in the world that were at 1 million views. And fast forward, he did his 3 videos. I think today it's up to like 30 million or something. But here's what's really cool. This one musician that was told take off from a big corporation, he chose to find his green frog, see where can he leverage things, what can he do, and he made a big difference. Because based on the negative publicity that United Airlines got, at one point there was an article that said United Airlines suffered losses in their stock value of $100 million for breaking this guy's guitar. He couldn't fight them on their fight, but he looked to find what his green frog was. He was able to bounce back based on his strength, not looking what everyone else is saying, but looking inside and going, this is the value that I bring. Two people in the exact same situation will see things completely differently. Two people in the exact same situation can have a fundamentally different outlook on life. I met a guy years ago, and he told me a story. I don't know if it's a true story, and I'll be totally honest with you, I don't care, because the principles of the story are true. He said, Sanjay, think of the slummiest part of New York City you can possibly picture in your head. I said, okay. He said, I want you to picture her as a girl. She's 16 years old, homeless, 7th grade education. And here's the deal. She literally bounces from soup kitchen to soup kitchen, cardboard box to cardboard box, and street alley to street alley. And this is how she lives. This is how she eats. This is her life. And at the age of 16, she started making choices that maybe not a lot of people on this call would make, but at the age of 16, she started having children. And between the age of 16 and 28, she had 8 of them with 4 different fathers. And you have to understand that the men that she met, no one would quite describe them as ideal citizens, right? They were very abusive, mentally, emotionally, physically, and the abuse went to the mother, but it often went down to the kids as well. And so a lot of these kids growing up in this horrible environment decided that it was better off to fend for themselves, and they would become street kids themselves. They would leave the house at 15, 16, 17 years old. The last she had of these kids were a set of twin boys. And these twins, right from birth, were inseparable. They were always together. No one ever even referred to them by name. It was like, where are the twins? Are the twins ready for bed? Do the twins brush their teeth? Things got so bad that these twins had a heart-to-heart conversation. And the gist of the conversation was this. One twin said to the other, basically he said, you know, as I see it, the only good thing you got going on in your life right now is me. And the only good thing I got going on is you. So whether we hang out here with abusive parents or we ditch the parents and walk up the street 4 blocks to our own soup kitchen, we're going to be better off on our own as long as we stick together. Right? So they decided to run away from home. How old are they? 11. 2 11-year-olds figured their best chance for survival was to fend for themselves. 30 years passes by. The mother falls ill. And as part of her illness, she's bedridden. Basically, that means she's lying in bed 20 plus hours a day. And after exhausting, all the syndication runs on Netflix, she kind of turns off the TV and starts to think and reflect on her own life. And in doing so, she comes to a couple of ahas, a couple of epiphanies. And she kind of wants to share them with her kids. Now, she's lost track of most of the kids, but she does keep in touch with a couple of them. And so she calls them up and says, hey, will you come and see me? And they're like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. And they're not really close to the mother, and they're a bit like rude, but the two of the kids agree to go see the mother. They walk into her room, she's laying in the bed, and they're a little rude to her, and they're like, yeah, what do you want, Your Highness? We're here. And the mother says, I've been sitting here thinking, and I've come to a couple of realizations. She said, one, I've been a horrible mother, and I'm sorry. And she went on to say, I was a kid having kids. I'm not saying that as an excuse. I'm just trying to let you understand that in those moments, the decisions I made, given the information I had at that time, given my level of maturity, my understanding of the world, I thought I was doing the right thing. When I look back, I realized a lot of those choices hurt you. And for that, I'm sorry. Please find it in your heart to forgive me. And she said, I'm going to ask you for a favor that I probably don't deserve, but if you can help me, I greatly appreciate it. And she said, the doctors tell me they don't know how much time I have left. And I'd love to see my kids again. Can you help me track them down? And the one kid kind of said, yeah, you know what? You're right. You've been a horrible mother, and you don't deserve what you're asking for. But we'll see what we can do. And they searched, and they searched, and they searched, and they found most of the kids. They found 6 of the 8, all but the twins. And the 6 of them kind of gathered around the bed. And the mother said, I wish my words could undo the pain I've caused. I know they can't, but know this. If there's anything you need, I'm here for you. I love you. I'm proud of all of you. And then she asked, has anyone seen the twins? And one of the kids jumped in and said, they were 11 years old when they left, and they didn't leave a forwarding address. We have no idea where they are. And one of the other kids took a little more optimistic view and said, hey, we don't know where they are, but we haven't given up. We're going to keep looking. And they searched, and they found one twin. Just a few blocks from where he'd grown up. Face down in a gutter. By every stereotypical definition of the word, he was a bum. His clothes were tattered and torn. He was malnourished. He was dirty. He was drunk. He stunk, and he didn't have a home. And they brought him in to see the mom. And the mother looked at him and said, look at you. What happened? And he very angrily, very spitefully looked at the mother and said, look at where I grew up. What did you expect? And she said, your brother, your twin brother, you guys were inseparable. Where is he? I don't know. Lost track of him 20 years ago. For all I know, he's dead. And one of the kids jumped in and said, we don't know that. We don't know. We're going to keep looking. And they searched, and they found him. Just a few blocks from where he'd grown up, in a hospital. Except he was chief of surgery. And they brought him in to see the mother. And the mother looked at him and said, look at you. What happened? And he very proudly looked at the mother and said, look at where I grew up. What did you expect? I'd seen that life. Yeah, I didn't want it. 2 brothers, same situation, same financial situation, same demographic situation, same biological situation, same freaking DNA. One chose to find opportunities. One chose to find obstacles. One chose to be resilient. One chose to roll over and say life is over. What type of person are you? The ability to choose, I'll tell you right now, has nothing to do with the grades you get in school. It has nothing to do with how much money you have. It has nothing to do with your ability to play basketball or how you part your hair. It is an internal quality. I call it leadership. But it's the ability to understand and appreciate that you as a human being are valuable and amazing. Sometimes we forget it, but reminding ourselves and allowing ourselves the ability to focus and appreciate that green frog and then chase it down. Because 2 people in the exact same situation will see things completely differently. When my eldest son was first learning to walk, in the house, we had a tree. And the base of the tree was roughly his height. And what he would do is he would waddle over to the tree, and it was perfect height for him that he would reach over and eat the dirt. And now, in all the parenting books I've ever read, apparently, it's a bad idea to let your child eat dirt. So, in my infinite wisdom, what I did is I took the tree and I stuffed it in a corner of the room. And then I put this sofa along one side of the wall, kind of sandwiching the tree. And then in his playroom, we had something that I used to call Car Mountain. And Car Mountain was like this plastic mountain where you can just like drive little cars on it. So I took car mountain and I wedged it between the wall and the sofa so that it kind of blocked off the tree. You with me? So what would happen is he would see the tree and go, dessert, and he'd start waddling over. And by the time he waddled there, he didn't have access to the tree, and he would get distracted with car mountain, and he would start driving the cars up, and he'd be all happy and go lucky. And I'd be like, I am so clever. Parent of the year. I'm so smart. Fast forward 6 months later. One day I walk into the room. 6 months later, he's a little older. He's a little stronger. He has more skills and ability. He is strong enough now that he is actually perched, sitting on top of Car Mountain. And where he's at the point where he is, he's not only able to reach down and eat the dirt, but now because he's on top of the mountain, he's actually able to reach the leaves and he's eating those too. And my son reminded me of a very important lesson about life. And that is this. The very things that serve as obstacles at one point in our lives, with the right understanding, with the right maturity, and with the right perception, will be stepping stones in others. What does that mean for you? It means those challenges that you're facing right now. You know, my best friend and I had a fight. You can use that as an excuse to say, oh no, life sucks, and keep going down the totem pole of life. Or you can use that as an opportunity to go, because we had a disagreement, that allows me and my ability to improve my conflict resolution skills, improve my communication skills, find a new best friend. Whatever it is, there is always going to be opportunity, and that comes from looking inside, recognizing your strength, and knowing that you have the ability to bounce back and be resilient in any situation because you are brilliant. One last story as I wrap this up to keep you guys on time, and that is this. Brian, we talked about earlier. Brian's the one that made his brother wash his eyes out with soap. Ironically, as a career, Brian became a public health nurse. And the reason why I say ironically is because when I think of nurses, I think about kind, caring, compassionate people, and not people who are like, ooh, I'm going to trick you to burn your eyes with soap. Anyways, Brian and we went to school together. And one day we were going up to his cottage. Not a very big deal, but as we're driving up to his cottage, we pass a car that's in the ditch. And I say to him, I'm just in a bit of a pokey mood, and I just wanted to bug him a little. So I said to him, I say, yo, nurse boy, there's a car in the ditch. Aren't you supposed to do something? And he looked at me and he goes, shut up, Sanjay, quit being a jerk. He goes, that car is probably abandoned. It's probably been there for like a month. Would you just relax? We're going up to the cottage. Quit being such a stick in the mud. He didn't actually call me a stick in the mud. I'm keeping it rated G. So anyways, we're driving along, maybe 10, 15 seconds later, as we're driving, a police car passes us going toward the direction of the accident we just passed. And Brian says, he goes, mere coincidence. And I said, what? And he goes, mere coincidence. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He goes, that cop, I'm sure it has nothing to do with the accident. Mere coincidence, he's probably pulling someone over for speeding. Not a big deal. Would you just relax? We're going up to the cottage. And I was like, all right, cool, no problem. 10 seconds later, a fire truck with its lights and sirens passes us heading towards the direction of the accident. And at this point, Brian and I are both pretty convinced they're going to the accident. But again, Brian's kind of quiet for a second, but again, he speaks up and justifies it. He says, okay. He goes, the accident's probably more recent than a month. But he goes, you know, the cops are there, right? The firefighters are there. Like, they have the jaws of life. It's not as though they need medical attention. And just as those words left his mouth, an ambulance with its lights and sirens passes us heading towards the direction of the accident. And for a third time, Brian's quiet. And for a third time, Brian speaks up and he says, you know what, Sanjay? He said, every day we have a countless number of opportunities. Sometimes we see them, sometimes we don't. But he said, I just miss 3 golden opportunities with flashing lights and sirens. And that's not the way I want to live my life. Every day you have a countless number of opportunities. Yes, you miss some of them, and that's fine. But when you see the ones that resonate with you, the ones that get you excited, when you see those true green frog moments, what I want to suggest to you is you grab a hold of them, take them for a ride, and remember, you have that ability to bounce back. You just have to believe in yourself and chase down the green frog. Westbound, I want to say thank you for the time. I love what you're doing this week. I wish you all the best. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you so much for that amazing presentation about resilience, amazing stories, the visuals, the magic. I love it. It's always entertaining. I'm going to bring Charlotte back. Hey, Charlotte.
Hi.
What did you think?
I always, actually, I didn't say this, but I was at Camp Papillon when he did a keynote there. That was when I met Sanjay, and like ever since, I've always thought of wanting to be an influencer since. Like, so for me,
Charlotte, I don't know you that well, but I can tell you right now, just from talking to you and seeing what you've done here, you are an influencer, and you will continue to grow down that path. So all the best to you.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Amen. So for everyone who's watching, the chat is open. I know it's a little bit tricky. This isn't like how we would normally do it, where everyone's in the auditorium. Questions are going to come up.
Well, I'm in the auditorium.
Yeah.
With all your friends, I see it.
But if you have any questions, you can post them in the chat. Sanjay's going to stick around for just a few seconds. We have a comment from Kemi that just popped up. It was amazing. Thank you, Kemi. We really appreciate the positive comment there. If there's anything else other than that, I'll wait for a second, but I just want to say thank you so much for that. I think this year especially we need the message that you brought for our students, chasing the green frog. We all have that green frog. I know that's what I was thinking about as you were speaking. My own goals, my own ambitions, and that's going to get us through all this, right?
If I can add one more thing too around that, it's your green frog's unique to you. And you don't have to share it with anyone, or you can. It's entirely up to you. But just because your friend wants to, go to this school, doesn't mean you should. Yeah. That's why I'm saying it's internal. It's what gets you excited.
Absolutely. I think it's more important than ever. I'm curious. Do you have any bit of advice for the students, especially in Sec 4? These are senior students.
Oh yeah.
Especially difficult for them. They've only been 50% of the time separated from half of their friends. This year, that's a unique situation to some of the schools in the MSB. But any bit of advice that you can give to our senior students here?
Yeah, here's the thing: is as much as it's as a pain as it seems, there is an end to this, and I know it's just because we're in it, we tend to project what we expect. What we're existing right now, we expect it, if the case count goes up 1,000 today, we think it's going to go 1,000 up every day and forever. And, it's the end of the cliff. The reality is it almost sounds stupid to say it, but all patterns continue until they don't. And so we were doing this and then at some point we're going to do this. So we have the best minds of the world working to undo things. We will get there. And sometimes we forget that because we get so sucked up in the, oh my goodness, and it's so different, and it is, and it sucks, but there's still opportunity there. And here's the other thing. There's been a tremendous amount of value of people supporting one another, more so than ever before because of this.
So true.
Whether it's financial or come to my house or volunteering or whatever, it actually brings the community closer together.
Oh, I totally agree. Actually, just to put it in quickly, I find that I don't know if I can say this for the Sec 4s, but I have some friends who might agree. But my classmates and I in Sec 5, we've never been closer. Like seriously, we have big conversations when we're in classrooms and we just talk about one-on-one. I might not even know someone. We're talking about things we've gone through, and it's just nice, even when we don't agree, to just be able to talk like people. I know it's whoa, what? People talk? But for real.
Yeah,
in high school.
The way I've said it, at my language side, it allows us to be more human.
Actually, it's like when you talked about, the jocks, the artsies, it's like the borders are down. Like people are really, it's like we're seeing the well-rounded person we all are.
Yeah. Yeah, we're all in this together. We're all suffering through the same thing. For some, it's more intense than others, but I know that. And you know, for people who are listening in class and at home and who are struggling, you know, there's always a place you can go to at the school. We have Karen, we have Mandy, you know, we have a social worker, we have nurses. You know, please take advantage of some of the resources that we have at the school. We have student council has done an amazing job posting different resources and different sort of messages in the school for this week. So we don't want anyone to slip through the cracks. We're all in this together, and we're all going to be here for each other. And so another comment here from Kimmy, I'm just going to post it here. We're no longer categorized. We're all together now.
That is, we're a category of one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's really good, Kimmy.
And that's interdependence, right? Being your own individual, but together.
And I think it's brilliant for you guys as student council to take on a theme like this, take on a week like this, because there's tremendous value in it. There's huge value in that. And even though for some people it's just a reminder, they already know that, but just it's a great idea.
So
yeah.
Kudos to you, Charlotte, and kudos to the student council. And thank you again, Sanjay, for agreeing to come and speak to our students. And we look forward to you returning another time.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you. And we got about 5 minutes left in the bell, so just enough time for everyone to wrap up and head to lunch. So thanks again, everyone.
See you guys.
Take care.